create a meeting workspace to go ahead and do this. So you may need to connect this Outlook instance up with the particular SharePoint instance, depending on whether you've done that before. And once you've done that, you'll be able to go ahead and create a private meeting workspace directly, simply by using the options as I've done here. And if we go ahead and look at the workspace, you'll see that it's created as a SharePoint site off of the site collection. So it's got its own lists for things like, for example, an agenda, attendees, document library, and objectives here as well. And it stores that as a completely separate SharePoint site. It's important to note also that even if I go ahead and close that item and don't save the changes, because that meeting workspace is an actual SharePoint site, the site will continue to exist. So if you want to get rid of that site and not use it, you need to go ahead and actually physically delete that site, not simply cancel the settings in Outlook. I'm going to leave that site for now. Let's carry on looking at the integration options, and this time let's have a look at a document library. Once again, off Actions, we can go ahead and connect it up to Outlook, and this time it'll take a little bit longer to download because there are physical files that are being downloaded. These are getting stored directly into the SharePoint PST file that stores the SharePoint content. And this will even allow me to view and open and work with these files locally, and even make modifications to these actual documents and sync them later. And you can see you can actually go ahead and view these files using the preview features in Microsoft Outlook. I can also choose to remove a local copy of the item by right-clicking here and going down at the bottom to the Remove Offline Copy option, in which case it will remove the actual local copy, but of course leave the copy in the SharePoint list. So you can see that the first item in the list still brings up the preview, but this item no longer does so, and I can go ahead and re-download it though by clicking the Download Document button at the bottom there, and then once again I can preview and interact with the documents. You'll see I also have two different search folders on the left side here. I can see all of the items that I do have available downloaded on my machine, or I can go ahead and work with them in a draft state as well. So for example, let's go ahead and open up this particular document once it's downloaded, and I can then go ahead and make modifications to the file, open it up in the Word editor in this case, and actually go ahead and make local offline modifications and then save those back up to the server as well. You'll see when I open the document, it tells me up at the top there that it's an offline server document, and it specifies to me that in order to modify it, I need to go ahead and click the Edit Offline button. Let's go ahead and do that, and it's going to tell me that I need to log into the site as well. So we know we're now putting the latest version of the document. It also specifies to me that it's going to store it in the SharePoint Drafts folder. So let's go ahead and click on that link and open it up, and you'll see that it stores it in a specific folder in the documents for the particular user as well, called SharePoint Drafts here. You can see there's a local copy of the item, and I can also go ahead and specify some of the offline editing options here in Microsoft Word. So for example, I can go ahead and specify where that folder should be. And once I've done that, then we can go ahead and make some modifications to the file. And when we do so, we can see here that even when we save it, we're saving locally. So let's reload that document. And when I do so, then it will allow me to either update directly back to the server because it detects that I'm online, or we can say no, let's not update right now. Let's keep working on the local copy. And then if I switch back to Microsoft Outlook, you'll see that it represents with the icons to me there that this is a local draft version it's now working on. You can see the blue text in the preview window there as well that says there that changes to this document are only available on this computer and that they need to be checked in to the server. Let's remove the offline copy and revert our changes. You'll see that it's no longer stored as an offline document. Just removes our local copy, and we need to resync to get the latest copy off of the server. So far, everything's been working well with our syncing with the source SharePoint data. But let's see what happens when we have a conflict. So we have another 2-person stored in the list at the moment. I can open up that conflict on the client side, and let's go ahead to the source server side and modify that underneath us. So for example, it could be another user that's modifying the same item. Let's change the person from another 2 to another 3, and that's in the source data. Back on the client side in Outlook, let's change that to another 4. Let's check that the first name is the field that's being changed correctly. We go ahead and close that item, and it'll prompt us here to save. So it's now saving the local copy. We can go ahead and use our new send receive sync group to go ahead and sync that item with the server. And when we do that, although it transparently tries to do the sync, if we go ahead into the folders list, under the SharePoint lists folder, there is a sync issues subfolder, and we can see the particular conflict appearing. So we can see there's menu items here to view the server version, which shows us the another 3. Then we can go ahead and replace the server version with the modifications that we've made locally. If we go back to the list, you'll see that the another 4 is the first name that's being stored here. So our modifications are the one that we chose to as the winner in this particular conflict. So if we go back to the server there, we'll notice as well that the server's been modified, and it's taken our new modified version. As a last step, let's go ahead and see how we can disconnect these lists and this data from SharePoint. So again, in the folders, I can go ahead and delete these items one by one, each of these SharePoint lists, or I can go ahead into the actual areas where they exist. So for example, I can go directly into calendars, into tasks, into contacts, etc., and remove these items. So let's just delete all 4 of the connections that we've created. The last one here is the tasks. However, you'll see that the SharePoint lists PST file and the data file itself is still attached here to our Outlook instance. So they're no longer SharePoint list instances, but the PST still lists itself here, and we can go ahead and load that folder, the containing folder, and see that file itself. Incidentally, I can go ahead and remove the file directly inside of Outlook, but if we do go ahead and browse to that folder where the PST file was existing a few moments ago, we'll see that the file continues to exist even though we've removed all of the actual lists from Outlook instance, and we've actually gone ahead and specified to remove that data file and close down Outlook as well. We see that the PST file does still exist there, and that in this instance it's 8 megabytes in size because of the data and offline storage items that we had downloaded. So if you do want to disconnect from SharePoint lists, make sure that you go ahead and do a full cleanup of all of the items and all of the bits and pieces. In this video, we've looked at how we can go ahead and connect up various SharePoint lists to Microsoft Outlook, and we've seen how these different lists surface in the appropriate places inside of Outlook. We've also looked at various syncing options, various syncing settings we can use, resolving conflicts, and tidying up these connections as well. If you've got any questions on this particular topic or on any other topics or suggestions for other videos, you can email me directly at hilton@geeseno.com, or you can contact Microsoft at tellus@microsoft.com.